This is Tim Starks with Liberty News Radio. The following video is from our meeting backstage with rocker Ted Nugent and Sheriff Mack of the CSPOA.
Sheriff Mack, it is my honor and privilege to be shoulder to shoulder with a warrior, not just for law enforcement, but on behalf of we the people, who knows that that oath we take as cops to the Constitution is sacred. And it is sacred across this land, not just with the heroes of military and law enforcement, but all the working hard, playing hard families that I meet with every day. They know what those words mean, so thank you for fighting for that.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for joining us, because you put your money where your mouth is.
Have you noticed that?
And you're a life member of the CSPOA.
Very important. The Constitutional Sheriffs and Policemen Association is the cutting edge of the culture war and the counterpunch against political correctness and all the dishonesty, deceit, fake news, corruption, abuse of power that runs rampant in this country. And before we attack the bad and the ugly, which is our job, that's what the Founding Fathers didn't come here to be complacent. You know, you hear the condemnation of confrontational politics. Well, that Nugent's too confrontational. Really? And you would have met the British at Concord Bridge and what, offered them tea? When they came to take our guns, and this is what I tell my grandchildren when we sit around the campfire and clean our machine guns. All my grandchildren have machine guns. The celebration of Independence Day, which I think is every day, is because the first unleashing of what God intended humans to be, free, independent, ruggedly individual, entrepreneurs, dare I say, taking risks, making sacrifices to pursue your individual dream. That became known in our history and currently as an experiment, an unprecedented experiment in self-government. And I tell my grandchildren that Independence Day is celebrated has nothing to do with barbecues. That's a good way to celebrate. But Independence Day is the day we should never forget, that when someone comes to take away your freedoms, when the British came to take away our guns, which is the most important tool for independence, security, freedom.
Oh, of course.
We met them at Concord Bridge and we killed them. And a lot of people go, well, that's extreme. Thank you very much. It is extreme because we broke off the shackles of tyranny, slavery, and oppression. And we created a society based on our Declaration of Independence, the 10 Commandments and the Golden Rule, and then we wrote them down as self-evident truths in the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And then we started creating an infrastructure of enforcing those laws, law enforcement, securing this experiment in self-government, militia, military, and more important than both of those considerations is that we, the people, have an absolute duty to be confrontational. We don't need to be mean or violent, but we need to be confrontational, confronting our elected employees to be constitutionally accountable. Because every senator and congressman, they took that oath.
Same oath.
Same oath. And they violate it every day.
Every day.
And it breaks my heart. And I don't mean to monologue here, but I'm on tour, and so my adrenaline is a volatile, lovely force to reckon with. If you have a barbecue, you might want to season it with my adrenaline. It'll go down smoother. I meet with working hard, playing hard, Sheriff Mack, we the people every day. Tonight is my 6,609th concert. 6,609.
No, come on.
6,609. And
you've
Sheriff
been doing
Mack.
60 years. Huh?
Only 60 years. Yes, I'll be warmed up any minute now. Save. And that includes 6,609 backstage meetings. Meetings with local cops, military, community leaders, hardware store operators.
Speaking of which, Sheriff Darley from Michigan told me to tell you hello about an hour ago.
A great man.
And Deputy Scott McDougal from Maricopa County in Phoenix.
I know it well. I know it well. The great Sheriff Joe Arpaio is a hero for all of we the people. But what you and I fight for, what the Constitutional Sheriffs and Police Officers Association stands for, is alive and well in the good families of this country.
Yeah.
They know that without law and order and without constitutionally driven law enforcement,
Yeah.
that there would be no security, no safe neighborhoods. So we need to celebrate that good. The good is alive and well.
Right.
But more important than celebrating the good is the securing of the future of good by fighting and exposing the bad and ugly. And that's what we're here to do today, because there's a lot of bad and ugly.
Plenty of that, and it's really sad that federal judges are promoting tyranny and abuse and victimizing law-abiding American citizens, and it's just going on every day now, and it makes me sick.
And because of the final spotlight on the cockroach of fake news, which I've been dealing with forever, the things the media says about me. I have a brand new grandson, Felix Nugent, born this morning at 107, yes.
Wow, congratulations.
And I wrote a letter that I will send you a copy of. It's on my Facebook right now.
Okay.
Where I wrote a letter to my 11th grandchild, reminding that child of the experiment in self-government and that it was paid for in blood.
Yeah.
And that he's going to be a member of an experiment in self-government where he will have a duty to participate as a we the people asset to the American dream. And in there I identified that the 10 Commandments, the Golden Rule, are a guideline for conduct and civility.
Right.
But when our government can attack an Amish farmer, when our anti-justice court system, with the alphabet soup of power abuse, whether it's BLM, ATF, FDA, USDA, IRS, the commando jackboot power abusers of all time, why Lois Lerner is not in prison is an indicator that there is no justice in America, or Hillary Clinton with her abuses. But that an Amish farmer can take a dairy product from his dairy farm and sell it to his neighbors as a dairy product, which I understand is an everyday occurrence in a free world, and discover there are healing attributes to a certain goat cheese, and offer it to his neighbors as a salve, but then the
This is the actual salve. This is the actual salve.
Are you a drug dealer? Is that?
Yeah. Now, see, now I put it on my skin, and it really helps. Now, you want to try some?
I would like to try, because I'm old.
So just so both of us are committing the same crime now.
This is the.
Yeah, just put it.
This is why a farmer. His name is
Sam Gerard.
Sam Gerard
and he got
is
6 years in prison for this.
For selling a salve made of goat cheese. And by the way, that is not an isolated.
It's actually chickweed, which is even less innocuous.
Which is
like
hemp.
You can smell the you can smell the eucalyptus. That's what that is.
But unfortunately, what the great new qualified commander-in-chief, Donald J. Trump, President Donald J. Trump, has really done is he has spotlighted the cockroaches in the abuse of power. Now he needs to turn that spotlight up. Yeah. But he identified the fake news that will not report this story.
Oh, no.
And won't report the story of an Oregon homeowner who was cited under the Endangered Species Act and the Environmental Protection Agency for destroying a wetlands where historically there was no wetlands, but a culvert, a county culvert.
Right.
You probably heard of this one.
Oh, yeah.
It backed up and a cattail grew, and to the jackbooted thugs, the existence of a cattail indicates wetlands, and he lost his home and was bankrupted. And we could go on, whether you go to Ruby Ridge or you go to the exposed examples. I would inspire my fellow Americans to dig a little deeper. Now, we know it's a treacherous journey into finding the truth because the internet and this new social media is overwhelmed with lies and obfuscation and smoke and mirrors. But when you can get to the bottom of the abuses of the BLM, which is basically a government entity for profit, that is controlling and milking funds from property that is owned by we the people. I mean, I'm just a guitar player, but I could figure this out.
There's something wrong in that picture.
So I would encourage everyone, first of all, I don't care if you are law enforcement. I know if you care about quality of life in America, you know you have to stand for law and order. And the 99.9% of the warriors of law enforcement who put their lives at risk every day to make sure that we the people wrote those laws, that they're enforced. You need to join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Police Officers Association. You need to join that and get these newsletters, because Sheriff Mack goes way above the call of duty in exposing some of these violations of the Constitution by our elected employees. And I could be here for the next 10 days and not run out of examples.
No.
My friend, a great law enforcement hero, Rich Wyatt, owned a gun store in Denver. He was on the Discovery Channel or one of the networks for years with his beautiful wife and daughter, celebrating basic Second Amendment rights, and he was tackled in his parking lot. He wasn't consulted and asked about alleged violations. He was tackled in his parking lot on his way to work one morning, and he is now sitting in the Denver Sheriff's Jail on his way to federal prison for a trumped up charge of some technical doodad firearms part. He wouldn't break the law if you held a gun to his head and offered him $1 million. And he's in jail. He's not going to dinner with his family. He's not going to a Ted Nugent concert. He is in jail, and as a cop on his way to federal prison, what do you think was going to happen to him?
Oh, he's done.
His life is in serious jeopardy.
He's done.
So we need to expose these egregious crimes.
Very similar to Cox and Kettler in Canada.
Yes, exactly. For having a muffler for their firearm that Brownback signed a law authored by my friend Chris Kobach, which authorized firearms and firearms accessories in the state of Kansas, manufactured in the state of Kansas, owned by Kansas residents that are immune to federal law because it never leaves the state borders.
And what I really want is for this message to get to President Trump so that we can get these people pardoned, because these are leftover abuses from the Obama administration that are still sitting there.
I was attacked by the Obama and Holder personally appointed U.S. attorneys in California, U.S. Fish and Wildlife. They're anti-hunting, they're anti-wildlife, and they hate Ted Nugent because I promote conservation. They went after me in California and in Alaska and threatened me with felonies of the Lacey Act, which is another convoluted, upside-down, anti-constitutional law, and they almost got me.
No,
I did nothing wrong.
You didn't threaten to bomb the White House like Madonna did.
No, nor hold the severed head of the president. In fact, I never, make it perfectly clear. My statement was, after reviewing these abuses of law and order and abuses of our court system, I knew there were pig farmers in Michigan that had their pig pens surrounded with their rifles, ready to defend their private property from overzealous DNR officials who were going to come in and destroy their pig herd because they had the wrong color hair. I'm not making this up.
I went to the rally for Mr. Baker.
That Mr. Baker.
Yeah, Mark Baker.
And so I was bombarded as a frontline activist for freedom in the NRA and gun rights and basically self-evident truth. I was constantly bombarded with these heartbreaking stories of court system abuse, where prosecutors won't let it redeeming evidence in to prove the innocence of an individual, and they get railroaded. So when I was at the NRA convention, I said, quote, if Barack Obama is elected again in 2012, I could either be dead or in jail. And what I meant was that I was afraid of the abusive power of my government. How anyone could misunderstand that statement as a threat proves that Saul Alinsky and the Van Jones and the MSNBC and the CNN and the fake news monsters, and certainly Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch and Barack Obama, they will twist anything to their advantage. I never threatened anyone. And the good men and women of the Secret Service determined that immediately and showed absolute embarrassment that they were wasting time with Ted Nugent when they should probably go after their own agents who were drunk and hiring prostitutes in Colombia. But that's a different story altogether. And I, by the way, at our meeting, I reminded them. I told them that on their video, and I'm sure they play it every night at their drunken parties. My point being is that we the people have to rise up. We have to put pressure on our elected employees in every office of the government, and I'm going to take this directly to President Donald Trump, because Rich Wyatt should be pardoned immediately. Our Amish friend in Pennsylvania should be pardoned immediately. And more important than that, then go after the judges and the prosecutors who are looking for notches in their gun stock instead of justice.
Exactly.
Big difference.
Yep. The Hammonds in Oregon
absolutely
need to be. There's but the list is long, and so one other follow-up to that we really want is for the president and Congress to form a commission to review all these arrests from the last 10 years.
Yes.
Because there's hundreds of them. There's hundreds of innocent Americans in prison
in
because
cages.
Of these people.
They did nothing wrong,
and they've done no crime whatsoever.
So I appreciate your efforts. I know it's hard to get rest sometimes because there's so many examples of this.
We were just talking about that, yeah.
But I think you and I agree on pretty much everything in life. I use a little bit more garlic on my venison than you do.
Well, but that's really interesting you brought that up. You're a rocker.
If
I'm
you notice,
cop.
yeah, I'm a rocker cop.
And I don't, you remember, I don't hunt.
I know. I
don't
know
hunt,
that.
But I play golf. So you're a hunter, and I'm a golfer. And
by the way, you damn golfers have destroyed so much habitat. I'm out to ban that stupid game.
And then you're kind of a guitar player.
Kind of, yeah.
And I sing in the church choir.
I'd like to think that tonight will be a church, and you can join in during Wang Dang Sweet Poontang, one of your favorite country songs.
Yeah, if you want to bring me up to the stage and introduce me to that,
maybe I should.
Yeah.
But I think what you're getting at is we come from two different walks of life,
right,
but we adhere to the same ideologies of accountability, constitutional accountability, law and order, and real justice. And it doesn't take a genius or a Harvard-educated law degree to determine when justice is denied. And it runs rampant in this country. So it's important to know that the Wang Dang Sweet Poontang author and the goofy golfer, we can get together for a quality of life and justice. And I thank you for that.
You're a good friend, and I really love the work you're doing, and I love how bold you are about telling the truth, especially about the real crime in America, and that's judges and other people in power abusing innocent Americans. We've got to stop that.
I deal with families who are victims of rape, murder.
I have too.
Child molestation.
All throughout my career I did that.
Torture. And the only crime worse than those is when a man or woman in a position of authority denies justice to the innocent. Worse than murder is the judge, the attorney, the prosecuting attorney, and those in the court system who knowingly keep exonerating evidence out of the system. Or, even worse, here's the term we need to remember, engineered recidivism. The court system has literally guaranteed that our families will cross paths with convicted violent felons because they've been let out of their cage knowingly. A rapist should never be let out of a cage. He's going to rape again. A murderer should never be let out of his cage. He's a murderer. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. I think the environment is more we the people friendly than I've seen it in a long time. More constitutionally friendly. I met with the great President Donald Trump, and we had a 4-hour roundtable like this. He understands, and I believe him, that his guidance, the parameters of his presidency, is ruled by the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights.
Wonderful.
He expressed that to me.
Wonderful.
Now, as he's draining the swamp, it's nothing but a landmine field and an obstacle course for him to execute that truism. But I believe he's on the right path, and I will push with everything I have and encourage everybody out there, and I'll do it on our Spirit of the Wild TV show and on my Facebook and in my writings, that we need to be more engaged communicating and highlighting these abuses of power in our court system to get these poor innocent Americans out of jail.
Somebody's got to stand for the little guy in this country. And I believe Trump will do it.
I believe he is a we the people guy.
Yeah.
I really felt that. Yeah. For all his billions, he was really down to earth. He wanted to know about Chuck Berry and guitar tones. He wanted to know how songwriting happens, and he's not a hunter. He wanted to know about venison.
Oh, he's not a hunter.
No, you guys will get along fine. But you guys don't have to be a hunter. I kill enough deer for all of you.
I'll eat the meat.
I got you covered.
You bring it back. I
love
help.
So he gets the big picture of this experiment in self-government, and that tolerance works as long as you're not tolerating evil, criminal behavior, or the worst crime of all, abuse of power from people in positions of authority.
And boy, has Judge Gloria Navarro done it in Nevada, and Judge Danny C. Reeves in Lexington against Sam Girard. These judges need to be punished for their crimes, and I totally agree with you. The worst crime in America is the abuse of power and attacking innocent people. The Amish are going to prison in this country.
Who can be more harmless?
The Amish. I know.
Yeah. So thank you for your efforts, but
you're welcome.
We're spotlighting the good, but we're continuing to chip away at the bad and the ugly.
Well, I thank you, sir. You've done a lot, and I value my association and friendship.
I use the word blood brothers. We're there for each other.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
Maybe I'll even go golfing with you.
Hey, let's do it, man.
If I ever really feel sleepy, I suppose I could go golfing.
Well, you do get to swing a club out in the forest.
Well, I started. I was always hunting from the time I was born, but I would go golfing with my dad and my brothers at the Redford Golf Course, and what's the other one called? Right in Detroit, and I found a set of golf clubs. They're probably a collector's item, all wood. Every Thursday was trash day, and we'd go trash picking. I get on my Huffy bicycle, and we'd find old screwdrivers that were broken. We'd grind them down and make new ones out of them. And cigar boxes that we keep our marbles in. We actually found marbles for slingshot ammo. And I found a set of wooden golf clubs, and so I would go with my dad, but I brought my Whammo slingshot, and I shot gophers at the golf course. So I improvise, adapt, and overcome. You got to love that. Well, thanks, Sheriff Mack. God bless you.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Glad to be here with you.